Now look, so looks like things have been escalating quickly. Uncle Nearest, the whiskey brand built by Fawn Weaver, has officially filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And on top of that, Fawn is suing the lender. And honestly, this move might be more strategic than people think. But before we dig in, I want to remind you guys of who I am. I'm rooting for everybody black, which means at the end of the day, I'm hoping that Fawn Weaver is able to get Uncle Nearest out of this tricky situation. But supporting someone doesn't mean that I ignore facts or ignore moves that are as strategic as they are necessary. Uncle Nearest is one of the fastest growing whiskey brands in the country. It's built around the legacy of Nearest Green, a formerly enslaved man who is widely recognized as being the first African-American master distiller. And the brand itself was founded by Fawn Weaver, who basically turned the history into a multi-million, honestly, at this point, close to $1 billion business. And a big reason people connect to this brand is because it's not just about whiskey, it's about legacy, representation, and restoring credit to someone who was overlooked for a long time. Fawn Weaver is most notably known for making the statement, history over whiskey. So yeah, this isn't just another company to a lot of people. This is way more than that. So now let's get into why people are even talking about this. There is an ongoing legal situation involving Uncle Nearest, and depending on who you ask, it's either a normal business dispute or something a lot more strategic. Now, Fawn Weaver has publicly stated that situation is more than just a disagreement. She's framed it as what she believes could be a kind of a soft takeover. And that's where things get interesting. Because if this is true, then a lot of the narratives we're seeing online might not be as random as they seem. And based on the lawsuit that Fawn Weaver has recently just submitted in regards to the lender, it looks like she actually really does believe that this is a soft takeover orchestrated by the lender in which they are doing a smear campaign to devalue the Uncle Nearest brand. Now, I want to let you guys know how I came to stumble upon this information in regards to bankruptcy, because not a lot of people were talking about it. So last night, I was doing what I do best, being nosy. I was researching what was going on with this lawsuit, and I had stumbled upon a website where I could read all of the court documents. I'm going through these court findings, and I see one that says sanctions. And I'm like, that looks juicy. Let me click on that one. And what do I find? I find the receivership up in here, big mad. It was big mad. And you want to know why? Because Fawn Weaver then went against the court and him, where they stated that Fawn Weaver was not to go to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And she did it. And not only did she do that, she went against the gag order that they put on her, stating that she couldn't talk publicly about this case or anything else. So the receivership was big mad, talking about, you need to put sanctions on her. Somebody needs to do something because she's out of control. But is she the only one that's out of control here? Before we get into that, I'm just going to post a video right now in which Fawn Weaver talks about the Chapter 11 bankruptcy and what she has essentially done. And after that, I'm going to give my commentary on how I think this is the most strategic move she has done yet.
As of moments ago, the receivership of Uncle Nearest is done. If you've been reading the headlines lately, you probably thought that wasn't possible, but rest assured it always was. And it is. I'm so grateful to God for our leadership team who kept their heads down and kept working. The same leadership team you've watched build Uncle Nearest never wavered. They blocked out the noise. Over the past 4 days, our legal teams have set several things in motion to protect this company, the legacy of Nearest Green, and the hundreds of thousands of people who have helped build Uncle Nearest one bottle at a time. First, Keith and I as individuals, as well as the company's largest shareholder, filed a lawsuit against Farm Credit Mid-America in the Supreme Court of the state of New York. The complaint lays the groundwork to prove the bank knowingly circulated false accusations about Uncle Nearest as well as Keith and me, including claims of missing inventory, financial misconduct, negative cash flow, and insolvency, despite possessing the records that contradicted every single one of those claims. More than 10 attorneys across New York, Atlanta, and New Orleans have spent the last 7 months reviewing this evidence together, and to say that they are ready to litigate this case is an understatement. Second, this morning I approved the filing of Chapter 11 to reorganize our debt to protect our team members, all Uncle Nearest creditors, not just one, and our shareholders. That filing immediately stayed the earlier lawsuit. Many who've read the headlines are understandably concerned about the allegations of financial irregularities. Frankly, if I were just reading the headlines or only the bank's allegations, I'd be concerned too. But that's one of the reasons I approved entering Chapter 11 this morning, because Chapter 11 requires complete financial transparency. In that courtroom, no one gets to hide behind filings without evidence or accusations without proof. And the picture that has been painted about Uncle Nearest will now have to be proven through numbers that add up, not words. Court filings associated with our Chapter 11 proceeding will reflect $13.2 million in unsecured obligations. The loan at issue with Farm Credit has a principal balance of $102.6 million, which the company disputes, and will address that through claims and counterclaims against that lender. These liabilities, however, stack up against an enterprise value estimated at approximately $529 million. Chapter 11 is what has allowed so many of America's longest standing companies to keep growing after running into challenges. My favorite airline, y'all know, is Delta. Filed Chapter 11 in 2005. Today it's worth about $30 billion. Marvel Entertainment, filed in 1996, emerged bigger and better, producing Iron Man, Avengers, Black Panther, Captain America, all of those things. General Motors filed Chapter 11 in 2009. American Airlines filed it in 2011. Today it's worth $10 billion. United Airlines in 2002. Today it's worth $16 billion. Hertz Rental Car filed it in 2020 and emerged with a value higher than it was before it went in. Neiman Marcus filed in 2020. And y'all know they're still all over the place. Caesars Entertainment filed in 2015. Today it operates Caesars Palace, Paris, Las Vegas, Harrah's, Planet Hollywood, one of the largest sports betting platforms in the world. Even our current president of the United States saw 6 of his companies file Chapter 11 between 1991 and 2009. Just 2 weeks ago, my favorite, iHeartMedia, filed Chapter 11 for the second time in 5 years. What each of those CEOs will tell you is this: Chapter 11 is not for the faint of heart. It is hard work, some of the hardest work they have ever done, because we must keep our eyes on the future, never letting go of the vision while addressing what's behind us and continuing to build what's ahead. And as founder and CEO, the responsibility for addressing this and moving the company forward ultimately rests with me and me alone. I should have seen the signs sooner. I should have acted sooner. I wish I had. But I can't go back and change the past. What I can do is make better decisions moving forward, beginning with making sure the story of Uncle Nearest is never again pulled away from what it should have always been about: the legacy of Nearest Green and his family, the legacy that deserves the truth, a story far bigger than any of these headlines. For those who want to understand the facts for themselves, the court record will remain publicly available through the Follow the Case link in my bio. In a couple of weeks, after our new legal and finance teams have been in this new courtroom environment for a bit, I'll give it a State of the Union of sorts. It'll be, big, and the only one I'll do. After that, I'll ask that you stay up to date through the link. But before then, I want you to know this: situations like the ones we've been through would have ended most companies. But because so many of you have never wavered, our distributors, our retailers, our team members, the Green family, and the hundreds of thousands of people who helped us build the brand, the mission we set out to accomplish when we launched in July of 2017 is still very much so alive. Uncle Nearest remains the most awarded bourbon and American whiskey in the world for the 7th consecutive year. The distillery remains the 7th most visited distillery in the world and open for tourists 7 days a week. Our distribution continues across all 50 states, the Caribbean, and the UK. Uncle Nearest will emerge from Chapter 11 because of what this team, this community, and this legacy represent. To the people who cleared the shelves when the lawsuit was first filed, thank you. Who've shown up at the distillery week after week, thank you. Who introduced this brand to their friends, their family, their communities, thank you. who understand that Uncle Nearest is more than whiskey. It is a legacy. We thank you and invite you to join us again. This is a story that waited more than 160 years to be told. And as a community, together, we'll make sure it continues to be told.
All right. So I know at the beginning of that, she makes the claim that the receivership has ended. And I just want to be clear that the receivership hasn't exactly ended, but the receivership is no longer the head honcho in charge. So when the receivership was put in place, Fawn Weaver and her husband was no longer making the decisions from Uncle Nearest. It was the receivership. But what happens when you file Chapter 11 is now the person who is in charge is the bankruptcy court. So the receivership must run everything through the bankruptcy court now. And the reason why I believe Fawn did that is because, one, when the receivership is put in place, he has an obligation to the lender, meaning he wants to make sure that the lender gets his money, which means other lenders, investors, and everybody else involved in this business could walk away with nothing, and Uncle Nearest could be no more. Why this is strategic in regards to Chapter 11 is that this will restructure the debt, ensuring that all lenders get a little bit of something. Everybody is going to be satisfied and people will walk away with agreements that they all share and are okay with. I think as a business owner, that is one of the best things she could do, because the worst thing you want to do is leave a whole bunch of lenders and investors upset. People need to get their money. And it's not fair to make sure that only one lender gets their money. I also think this is very in alignment with many of the things that she has done throughout this process. We're going to go over all of this in this series because I'm going to be doing an Uncle Nearest series, just like I gave you guys the Destination Smokehouse and Mr. Tendernism series. We got an Uncle Nearest series going on because there are so much chatter online, and we're going to have to break down the veil and really sift through the misinformation that is going around so we can have a clear idea on what's happening with this lawsuit. Another reason why I think that she filed for Chapter 11 was because the receivership also too was going a little rogue, in my opinion. He was not only looking at entities that were clearly Uncle Nearest brands, he was starting to look at anything that Fawn and her husband owned, meaning any businesses that they had. He was like, hey, I'm going to make the argument that all these companies are together. They're all one business. And they're like, wait. We got totally different books. We file taxes separately. They're separate tax IDs. You're going to need to prove that all of these businesses are actually one and stop just making claims because you want to make them. I think for Fawn, that makes you nervous. I know I would be nervous because I'm in court for this one situation and you're trying to say that everything I own now belongs to that lender? No, we ain't about to do that. We about to file for this Chapter 11, make all these books clear, because it seems like Fawn and her husband do agree that the CFO, which that's a whole nother situation, they are suing them too, that the CFO wasn't really good at maintaining financial records. And as she said in the video, that is something she should have caught earlier. And I think this is a key moment for all of us, especially those who are business owners. None of us is perfect. Even in the discussion of Mr. Tendernism, people have brought up the fact that he doesn't know how to run a business because he has never ran a business himself. There is no business that is large and profitable that is ran on the knowledge of one person. It's all about building a team, and you have to trust your team to execute on the jobs that they were hired to do. So, if you guys are interested in videos like this, please be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you're notified when I post a new video. If you like this video, you're most certainly going to like this one. And until next time, stay beautiful, stay blessed, stay black. This is Jade, and you're watching Get Into the Black. Bye-bye.